We're on.
We're on.
We're first one. What is up? My name is Blake Helmick. That's my twin brother, Dustin.
Howdy.
We were approached a while back about potentially doing a outdoor podcast, and this is our first crack at it. So bear with us.
Excited.
We live in central North Dakota. He lives about 15 minutes away from me, right around the Jamestown area. He's a farmer. I'm a duck hunter. So we both love hunting and fishing. And I'm going to keep the intro short and sweet. You guys are going to learn a lot about us over the next few episodes. But I think today we're talking turkeys. We're talking walleyes. Maybe a little bit about Dustin's planting season. I know he just wrapped up right before this rain. It's raining nice right now, too. I don't know what you guys end up getting for rain.
Much needed. Yep. Much needed rain.
What'd you get for rain?
72 hunters. And
yesterday,
I think they're supposed to get a little bit more tonight. And we got the crop all planted on Saturday, and Sunday morning woke up to a nice, gentle, perfect all-day rain. So
how'd your purchase
much better than that?
How'd your purchase in town go today?
The what? What was that?
How'd your purchases in town go today? Did you find what you were looking for?
Yeah, haven't been to town for 2.5, 3 weeks. Took the rain day. Had to pay a few bills. Had to buy a few extra mooch minnows. Make sure the boat's
Did you find some trees? Did you find some trees?
I bought a few trees, a couple apple trees that's gonna go in my yard, and I got a few apple trees going out at a few deer spots. I got some trees ordered. Some eastern red cedars. We're gonna start creating some pretty cool habitat. Plots all kind of ready to go. I won't plant that till a little bit later, but yeah, everything is cleaned up, and if farming, get ready to start spraying, I guess, and hauling some grain, and hopefully get on the water as much as possible.
Hey, how early are you setting trail cameras up?
June 1st.
June 1st, yeah. So
I normally wait till July in the planner. Happen to see a few different bachelor groups. One of which is holding hopefully a deer that I've been after for a couple of years. Not really after, but this is the year that he won't get the slip anymore. He should be a 5.5-year-old. So get some cameras out early. See if I can start an early pattern. But basically get them out, and it's time to get on the water, buddy. It's walleye season.
Are you all wrapped up with turkey season? Or you got to hear one more gobble?
I might have to hear one more gobble.
What is it? What's the date today?
18th today.
I
got 10, 12 days to maybe travel to maybe Minnesota or I don't know. I'm kind of torn.
I killed mine in Minnesota. I think the 21st last year, and they were gobbling good. So, I know this time of year gets busy. Plus, the boat gets a little thirsty, wants to get in the water. I know you've been itching. I fished all weekend. Kind of got my teeth kicked in a little bit.
Yeah, let's hear about that. You had a opening season tournament this year in Minnesota. How'd it go?
Yeah, buddy asked me to fish we grew up in Glenwood, Minnesota, so there's a Lake Minnewaska there. They had their springtime tournament or whatever you want to call it. I think there was right about 40 boats, but yeah, I got my teeth kicked in. I fished, we fished Friday and Saturday. I think we caught 4 walleyes. Tried 4 feet, 8 feet, 10 feet, all the way out to 27. And surprisingly enough, with sub 60-degree water temp, I was finding some fish deep, way suspended. Those ones wanted to eat a little bit better. But tournament day, it was blowing 30 and felt like I broke everything on my boat trying to get to where we were going. Dropped the trolling motor, no power to my screens, no power to my deucer. All right. Start troubleshooting, finally get it up.
Gonna start the tournament like this, huh?
I know, and the rage was setting in. I set the spot lock on the trolling motor to go deal with it, and the rollers were so big, I was filling the front of the boat, and I'm like, figured I knocked a wire loose or something on the ride out, but picked away, ended up just leaving. I mean, I didn't want to leave it because I didn't have any confidence in anything else. And with about an hour left, we decided to kind of get closer to weigh-ins and get in like 10 feet of water. Right when I dropped the trolling motor, I see a pretty good mark. But by the time I got my rod, the wind had pushed me off. So I was trying to find another one. And weigh-in was 2:30. At 2 o'clock, I caught a 4-pounder. And then trolling motor died 2 minutes later.
Made the trip anyways.
So, I mean,
when you say you saw one right away,
scoping,
you're talking forward facing.
It's all I did.
Maybe you should elaborate a little bit on that. I know you and I both. It's obviously the new name of the game, and it's getting more and more popular. Explain to maybe the people who are listening who don't exactly know how that works.
Well, yeah, I'm sure most people know what live scope is now. You know, it's kind of like a real time. Instead of down, it's facing forward, and you can kind of scan and find fish. And there's a lot of ways to get better using it. Anybody that says I'm just gonna die on this hill right now, and I know you will too. But for the people that call it the cheater box and the cheater box, you know. Dude, go out there and live scope in 35-mile-an-hour winds with 3-foot rollers, and let's see how you do.
And add clear water to that as well, and smart, educated walleyes. It's definitely a huge game changer in the fishing world, but it doesn't fill your live well up just automatically. No. You got to have a lot of practice, know what you're doing. You still got to find them.
They still got to eat
in the right spots.
They still got to eat.
And they still got to eat, which actually this spring, with the way the weather's been, it's just been kind of –
yeah.
You get a couple warm days, a couple cold days. The wind blows 40 out of the south. The next day it blows 40 out of the north. It's just hard to –
yeah, that's what we dealt with. Yeah, we dealt with that too. Friday, Saturday when we were pre-fishing, heavy west blows both days, 20, 25 plus. And then on tournament day, it was by 3 a.m., it's turned straight out of the east, and it was completely backwards. And kind of half the lake. I mean, a lot of guys, it was pretty much if you cut Lake Minnewaska in half and everybody kind of stayed on the east side to, you know, just to bear it a little bit. We went right for the middle of that thing. Yeah. And we honestly, I was hitting fish in the forehead. It was just getting them to eat, and they just weren't. They weren't eating. And then, you know, our good buddy, Mr. Minnewaska Meats, grinds it out in one spot. I saw where he went right at blast off. And when I got back about 15 minutes before weigh-in, he was in the exact same spot. And he
said it was a hell of a grind. And I think he said all of his fish came out of there. He said he didn't turn his live scope on until after he had a limit. So that's a little bit of old school whipping new school's ass right there.
Oh, 100%. I give him credit. Like he said, you know, he'd catch one and then sit there for an hour and go back and forth if you should try a new spot. Then
EJ, he can catch fish in the bathtub, though. If you ever see him somewhere on the lake, it probably isn't too terrible of an idea to maybe go check out what he's doing.
Yeah.
Especially on that lake when,
so, I mean,
a lot.
I learned a lot. I definitely will fish it again. You know, we grew up there and we never really fished that thing in the summer.
No.
Never. There's other lakes and, you know, from talking
big body of water.
Talking to the yeah, and I was happy about that. Challenge my old Ranger, and everything held together other than that little weird issue right away that delayed me about 10 minutes, but never had the issue again. And I kept my trolling motor on 10 for about 7 hours straight. So I asked that to do about all it could handle, and overall learned a lot, and definitely want to get back on that lake. You know, driving home last night, just sitting there thinking to myself, you know, I was fishing fast. You know, practice Friday, Saturday, just hitting spots, and sometimes that's not the way to catch them. Sometimes you got to grind it out, and you got to pick your way through things.
Especially this time of the year, different bite windows, and
yeah.
You kind of got to be there to capitalize. Again, it's pretty tough when the wind is out of the different direction at an extreme.
Yeah. And being able to
now.
keep your confidence, when you go an hour with not catching one, you start, like Jensen said, you start thinking about a different spot maybe or whatever, but, you just having the confidence and a good enough pre-fish to know, like, there's fish in here. I just got to grind it out and find them. And my tournament partner hooks up to what he thinks is the tournament winner. He's sitting there. He's fighting this thing. I'm like, does it feel like a walleye? Staying down. We caught a ton of bass. Great bass lake if anybody's looking. Sorry for the locals to Glenwood if you're bass fishermen, but caught a ton of bass. And anyways, Cody's hooked up, and I was kind of in the back of the boat when it happened, so I wasn't watching the screen or whatever. And he's like, "It's big, buddy. She's heavy. And all of a sudden it surfaces and it's a 8-pound sheephead. It brings you from up here to down here real quick.
It's amazing how that can happen. The ebbs and flows and fishing. You'll fish for 3 hours and not catch one, and all of a sudden you'll get that one bite that just changes your day. And
well, that's a testament to my tournament. I mean, weigh-in was at 2:30, and I caught my first fish at 2, and it bumped us from last place to middle of the pack just like that. So
yeah, I mean, it was a tough bite. Looking at the leaderboard, it was a tough bite all the way around, grind, especially with the weather the way it was.
Kudos.
What do you bite on?
4.5-inch mooch minnow. And honestly, I was using anywhere from 1/2 to 3/4 ounce jig heads when I was fishing deep, just because it was so windy. I could cast it a little more accurate, and the ones that were snapping didn't have a single problem eating it. And get up into that 10-foot range right at the end there, and I'm like, man, I don't really have time to retie. I got all heavy stuff on. Like, I'm just gonna run it. And that 24-incher absolutely smacked it on the drop.
That's funny when it happens like that, isn't it?
Yeah, so I don't know if I've ever been so happy to catch a walleye.
Yeah, I mean, when you're getting down to the nitty-gritty, nobody wants to go in there with a 0, and you'd always think a 0 can't happen to you, but boy, when it does, it's a pretty big spoonful of humble pie, that's for sure. We had a tournament like that last year, missed a couple bites. Yeah, there's something to be said about fishing clean, and you don't really understand what fishing clean is like until every fish that you potentially set the hook on might really matter.
Yeah, especially when you don't get to set the hook very often.
Yeah, you definitely want to capitalize on.
It wasn't a tournament that you're cycling through, 30, 40 fish to find the right 5. Like, you were just trying to find 5.
You were trying to catch a couple fish. Hopefully they weren't too short. Hopefully not all of them were over the slot, which would have been kind of a fun day still. But
yeah, kudos to the boys that won it. I know I have an idea. I've heard stories about where they were, and I was definitely picking it apart in practice, kind of that area, and I never went to it on tournament day. It just didn't really pay off Friday or Saturday, and figured it was going to be a lot of boats in there, but same thing, probably just ground it out and found the right bites.
Yeah, it looked like they maybe got a big one too, 8.5 pounder on a
that
17-pound winning bag. That a kicker like that is obviously pretty ginormous.
Do you remember what their bag weight was? 17 something?
I thought it was 17. I think Jensen was maybe 15 something. Yeah, it was. Let's see here. They had ended up winning with 17.87. Big fish being 8.08.
8.
And EJ was second place. They ended up with 15.5. Big fish was 7.67. And they never turned a live scope on. So that's kind of cool. You got to give them props for that.
100%. There's something to be said about
fish. That still works. There's
something to be said about standing on your boat and throwing your bait 1,000 times, and hopefully 2 or 3 of those casts you get one to bite, and your partner does.
You're not just out of it if you don't have forward facing.
No.
I have a really hard time not turning that on if I'm on my boat, but you don't need it for sure. Do
No,
what everybody.
you don't
You
need
fish
it.
walleyes long enough, you know what where they should be this time of the year. You know where they should be in a couple months or a couple weeks.
Yep.
Fish windy points, windy structure, shallow in the weeds. One of my favorites.
Weeds.
Especially
I think
now.
that was where they were. I think they're in the weeds, and you just had to be patient and
Normally, when you
catch
can
a lot
find
of
them in the weeds
bass.
too, they're probably trying to eat. So just
Yeah.
maybe
Well.
finding marine life in general
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
little bit. I mean, you can kind of pick cross spots off the list if you're not seeing any bait fish, if you're not seeing much on the scope. It maybe is time to leave. And like one word of advice, if you do fish weeds, which I love to fish shallow weeds, take your time, zoom your scope in a little bit. Really take your time and pick through it, because generally, if you can find them in the weeds, they'll normally bite if you can get one in front of them. You know,
Yeah,
especially
you cut your teeth on them weeds. That's my downfall. I'm kind of a basin. Like I was talking to my buddy the other day. He's like, yeah, because that's what you're comfortable with. You know, there's a million
well, they're
ways.
easier to see, and it seems like when you do find them in a basin and they're 3, 4, 5 feet, they're gonna bite probably.
Yep. But I think with turkey season wrapping up, I think we should maybe talk a little turkeys, and we can always pick up on this walleye talk. I know
we'll talk walleyes all summer. There's still turkey season's over. Give me a little bit of your season. I know you guys went out west, Black Hills, kind of kind of the old man in us showed up, right? Little body failure. Why don't you give us a story on that?
So my buddy that I fished the tournament with, Cody, and my brother-in-law Drew and we drew tags for the Black Hills in South Dakota. I think this is the first year that was lottery. I think it's just non-residents, maybe. I think residents can just get one over the counter. But anyways, I'd never stepped foot on the Black Hills, and I love the areas where you can kind of go in and get lost with them. You know, big giant acres of
be gone all day long. Don't see if you pick up again.
Yep. And obviously out west you're hunting Merriam's turkeys, so they're usually vocal and
they're gobbling.
Yeah, so I think the season opened on Saturday, April 25th. We didn't want to go on a weekend just because it, busier or whatever. And then my brother-in-law's a pilot, so he's week on, week off. So just with how it worked, we ended up getting there that Monday after opener. So, and honestly, we were in kind of the northern third. Not very many people when we got there. Couple pickups here and there, but for the most part, we kind of had our little chunk to ourselves for at least the first couple days. But the whole goal, so we packed up double bubble, clam fish house, portable fish house. That's
a little hub style pop up. Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, we figured let's just do this thing on a budget. We all we packed everything up. We packed the cooler, little grill. We were just gonna get in there with them and stay in there with them until either we tapped and cried uncle or our tags were filled.
You were tagged out.
So, but the whole goal was, let's get in there. Let's not rush to set up camp. Let's get in there. Let's hear some gobbles, maybe see a turkey on the streets, and try to set up camp in them. How awesome would it be to unzip the tent unzip the tent and step out and you're walking to your spot, and
maybe
so
even hearing a gobble if you get up a couple minutes too late.
None of us had been there, so we kind of on X looking at maps, figuring out where we think they would go. And I got to give kudos to my brother-in-law because he had this pin, and we were there early enough, so a lot of the roads weren't open for travel, which is I think why we saw pressure later on. I think a lot of the park was hard to get to, and but we pull off of this main gravel running up the mountain, and we pull off this little gravel, and I'm like, this looks like a good place to try to strike one. And, I'm in the back seat with my blue jeans on. It's 2:00 in the afternoon on Monday, and kind of shitty weather, foggy, rainy,
windy.
Not sure if they're going to gobble. But I stuck my head out and fired off a crow call and got a hammer.
No
First
way. Never works like that.
No, first spot, dude. First spot. I'm like, oh, dude, first thought, gotta go after him.
Yeah, 100%.
It's
You switch them blue jeans for the bottomland as fast
I
as you
was
can.
debating going in with blue jeans. I
Yeah,
heard that, and I killed my North Dakota bird April 12th, I think, or 13th, somewhere in there, and opening weekend. And so I hadn't heard it for a couple weeks, and buddy, I was ramped up. So I'm like, we gotta go after it. And luckily, Cody and Drew had a little stronger head on their shoulder, and like, hey, let's find a campsite and let's get all this shit out of the pickup, so we can even
get dialed in. That way, we can go get lost, and if it's dark, we can come back, and it's still.
Yeah. So right there, kind of right around the bend, we set up camp, and of course, while we're setting up, he's going off, unprovoked. Like, this one's fired up.
What you found a fired up, or was he hemmed up? Or what was it? What was the story?
Never, by the time we got set up and our gear on, we kind of walked down the road and got in kind of where we thought. We never did end up hearing him gobble again. Like I said, the weather was progressively getting worse as we got there, like heavy fog, especially up in those mountains there. I think the highest we got was 7,300 feet. I think a lot of birds we found were right around that 6,000 range. And so, you get down the mountain, it's pretty clear, but by the time you get up the mountain, it's, low fog, dense fog. So we walked probably 2 miles, just kind of doing some exploring, trying to get one to strike up, couldn't get one to go. So about, a couple hours before dark, we decided it was best to just kind of cruise around, get a feel for the area, see what's happening. And yeah, that night we never heard another gobble. So we kind of went in blind the next morning. And so this is where
Did you hear him in there in the morning, first light? Did you hear him?
Yeah, so this is kind of where my troubles began. So I'm looking at the map, and I'm like, okay, we heard one here. Seems like a good area. But there was this little, they call them gulches out there, these bottoms that they graze cattle in and stuff. And so this gulch, right? Well, the gulch was private, and then the public was all the way around this gulch. So I'm looking, I'm like, man, that gulch looks like a good area for him to strut. I'm thinking Easterns, like, oh, they're going to get out in the open in the green grass and the sun in the morning or whatever. And so we end up getting in there that next morning, and we hear a bunch of different gobblers, but they're all on the other side of this gulch. Well, this gulch is like 6 miles long, so it's not like you can get around to the other side. And you're
not really trying to drop down and go through it, I'm assuming.
No, and that's the thing is where we originally were, we were lower, so we didn't love our position, because I'm kind of a firm believer that it's tough to call those things downhill. I mean, a lot of times if you're below them, you're done. And
especially those mountain birds.
Yep. So we ended up kind of being out of the game enough to kind of know where they were, and we learned some stuff that morning about where they were. And so anyways, we proceed to get in this rabbit hole, and we're walking all kinds of different chunks, just trying to get a feel for it, what's going on. We do end up getting on a fired up bird a little bit of ways from camp, driving around. We kind of seen some aspens mixed with some nice pines, open pines, and got in there, and like a half mile in, I'm telling my brother-in-law, I'm like, I haven't seen a turkey track, and a lot of these like grass 2 tracks, were full of turkey tracks. I'm like, I'm not seeing anything.
You can find scratching or dung or something. Like, if turkeys are there, a lot of times you can, if you're paying attention to the ground enough, you can pick them up, and kind of know, okay, we're in them or we're not. Absolutely.
Yeah, no more than saying, we haven't seen a single track. One fires up.
Love that. Absolutely.
And he played the game for a while. We did see him at like 100 yards strutting with a hen, and tried getting around him. There was probably 5 or 6 different times throughout the 4 days that we hunted. Like, we were right there. There was at one point we had 2 fired up gobblers inside of 40 yards but just on the backside of this ridge where they wouldn't cross the ridge. They wouldn't come up that little bit. And so, just they got it's 1v1, and you're in their house. So it can be a tricky game to play. And
they have some pretty good senses too. It seems like, everybody talks about turkeys with their eyesight, which, I mean, we've both been busted over the years of hunting, and it's kind of mind blowing at what they will pick you off with. Like you could just barely move, but they see that. But the other thing, you notice how he could gobble at you at 400 yards, and the next time you see that, he's in your lap, and you have no idea how he knew exactly where to pinpoint, or how he knew exactly where you were.
Oh,
especially out west in those hills.
And that was the thing that was for the human ear. You get a turkey 3/4 of the way up the ridge gobbling, and that gobble's bouncing off the ridges. And we learned, like, they're not always right where you think they are, but yeah. So anyways, at the end of that day, we hadn't connected at this point. So we're like, all right, we're going to split up and try to roost some birds or whatever. And you got to remember, I think that first day we put 14 miles on, and it ain't flat, buddy.
Yeah.
I'm sucking through a straw.
Yeah, mile high. Oh, yeah.
I'm miserable at this point. Okay, I'm not in shape. I won't claim to be in shape, but we're and you know how we
got some preparation to do come September had we get drawn for this muzzleloader elk tag that we'll talk about later. But
yeah, so I get up on this high hill, mountain, you could call it, and kind of like the only open part of this flat, or this not flat, but this long ridge side was pretty thick with pines, and I was kind of just, I'm gonna stay in the open. I'm there to roost.
Yeah,
but I got an hour. Maybe I could get.
You had time to make a move if something happens.
Yeah, so I'm sitting up there, and looking down, it's all open, but to my right and at the bottom, there's this little grass 2-track. And to my right, everything to my right's thick pines. And one fires up on that 2-track below me. And I'm like, wow, that's probably not that far away. And unprovoked gobble, I'm just sitting there quiet, and I'm debating, like, should I get down there? Do I just see where he roosts and play it safe? And he gobbles again, and he's coming. And I'm not in a position to kill him. And there's no way he's coming up that open hill. And so I would, what you would call in downhill skiing, bomb the hill by running as hard as I could run. And it's steep enough to where, you can run like this, and then pretty soon you're, sidestepping down because it's that steep. And, life is good. Sit at the bottom of the tree. Never heard him gobble again. So now it's getting to the point where I'm not going to kill one. He must have cut up into those pines before he got to the corner where I was at. And one kind of fires off behind me, and I go to stand up. And I no more than get to my feet, and I'm right back on my knees. And my right knee, and I didn't realize it because I was kind of sitting with my feet out, at the base of a tree.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't realize it, but at that point, my knee was the size of a grapefruit. Swollen. Bam. And I got a little under 2-mile walk back to the pickup.
By yourself.
By myself. And so I'm like, okay, first things first, get these trees that these gobblers are roosted in. And so I kind of crow call a little bit once I think they're in the tree. I got them pinpoint within 50 yards. And now I'm just letting it get dark so I can get out of there because I'm, they're above me and it's open. So I didn't want to get picked. And so I let it get dark. And the whole time standing there, I'm like, what happened to my knee? Like, I know I put on a lot of miles, but I haven't had knee pain in my whole life. Like all day, mile 10, 11, 12, 13, I didn't have no knee pain. And all of a sudden, right after I bombed down that hill, I got, we're talking 8 out of 10.
Pain-wise.
Pain. And I dragged my leg.
How many days of the trip you have left? Once this happens?
This is first full day. This is on Tuesday night.
So you have 3-4 more days where you're gonna
I'm stressing. I'm at this point in my head, I'm thinking, I don't know if I can keep going.
Camp Cook.
And that just wasn't gonna
Yeah, it wasn't
work
gonna
out.
happen. No.
That wasn't gonna work out. Well, so we get back to camp. We kind of have a really good plan for the next day, and it got cold up there every night. You know, the whole time we were there, we didn't have great weather, but it was like 25, and we're out with our headlamps on, grilling, and I can just feel my knees stiffening up, and I had a little bit of trouble with my right groin. Like, just I don't know if it was only that first day, but like it was like it would bother me every once in a while. So now I got my left groin and my right knee, and the knee is the groin is tolerable. The knee is like I'm in pain. And I remember walking back to the pickup after standing out there, and I couldn't hardly get to the pickup 100 feet from the camp. When I get in and Cody is sitting in the tent, and I'm like, I can't even believe I'm saying this out loud. But if this thing doesn't fix itself overnight, I don't know if I can go. Like, I can't hardly walk on flat ground, let alone put another 14 miles on up and down, up and down. And so I saw every 15 minutes of the night, couldn't sleep, didn't get no sleep. My knee was in pain. I couldn't get it straightened out. I couldn't find an angle where I could get some relief. And so I think wake up was right around 4. So at 3 o'clock, I'm like, all right, I'm just going to get up. I'm going to stretch the calf out. I'm going to stretch the hammies out and the quad out. Everything that kind of supports the knee, I'm going to stretch it out. I'm going to eat some Tylenol and maybe ask ChatGPT, how to get some relief. So that's what I did. I asked ChatGPT. I think I did something pretty bad to my knee. Don't know exactly what. How can I get through the week? Like, I don't care. At this point, I don't care if I make it worse. I just got to get through the week. And
You're just trying to be able to hunt turkeys out there on a trip you guys have been waiting for months.
Yeah, this was kind of like the big trip. So, it kept telling me to like find some type of brace. Wow. Where are you going to find a brace? I'm on the mountain and it's 4 a.m. And so I had brought some wool socks. And I ended up cutting the feet out of 3 of them. And I slid the calf part of the sock, the boot part of the sock up over my knee. I did 2 of them. And then I put my long johns on. And then I did a 3rd one. And boys, if you guys are ever in the mountains and you wreck your knee, that single-handedly got me through the trip. I'm sure the mixture of ibuprofen and Tylenol every 4 hours.
I'm sure that assisted.
But that just gave it so much
pressure on it.
Yeah, it just felt so much more stable. And going up the hill wasn't bad. Any kind of down incline or a downhill was brutal. But we got through it. I think we ended up putting 40 miles on. And by Thursday, because we were going to leave Friday after the morning hunt. And Thursday and Friday ended up being the 2 best weather days we had of the trip. So Tuesday and Wednesday, we had some encounters, but it's tough to hear, windy. Up there, it's weird. Like, it turns to blue skies, and then in a second, it's snowing. And it snowed on and off, all day, Tuesday and Wednesday. And Thursday, we had a good opportunity. Kind of misjudged where they were roosting. Didn't end up panning out. Drew and I got in on a couple really good encounters where we had them fired up and we kind of had them moving in circles around us. I don't know, man. There was a lot of that just couldn't quite seal the deal, and we all got to make.
Well, that's the kind of you're kind of rolling the dice, right? Anytime you go somewhere new, you pick a spot on a map. Let's go try it. You get drawn. All this anticipation, and sometimes it takes a year or 2 to get them dialed in. I mean, look at Grandpa for elk hunting. They hunted 20 years before they killed one, and now we've killed one 7 or 8 times in a row that we've been out there. Yeah. So it just takes – you got to learn them, just like our home bucks here that we go see every single day and, deal with.
I think the biggest thing was, we hunt Easterns.
Yeah.
So treating a Merriam's like an Eastern, I definitely made some miscalculations. Like, we spent a lot of time lower than we should have spent. And we kind of figured that out a little bit later. Like, stay up on them, stay above them if you can. I think, seasoned turkey hunters would tell you the same thing. Like, they never stop moving. They're not going to just sit there and strut in one spot for an hour. It seems like they just kept moving, at least the ones we were hunting. And then by Thursday, every trailhead had a pickup in it.
That was how it was like for us out in Western South Dakota or Western North Dakota a few years ago. Remember, like anytime we would get on them, they're just aimlessly moving somewhere.
Yeah.
And one day they could move west, the other day they could move east. They got nowhere to be in all day to get there. And it's in that scenario, not flat, not full of trees, Badlands area. It's hard to kind of dial those in just because it's so much different than what we're used to with like the Minnesota hunting and the other type of hunting that we turkey hunted in.
Yeah,
Western
like the North Dakota
is a whole new learning experience.
Yeah, and honestly, after we ate our tag soup Friday morning, we took off for east for home and exhausted. We put how turkey hunting days are. Up at 4 a.m. You're in bed by 10:30, 11. Wild and Wolves were in Series 1, so we were watching them, and at night, couldn't go to bed early with them on, and by the time I got to Bismarck, I missed it. I'm like, I thought of a million different things I would do different, so you learn. Same with the walleye tournament, like you're not going to win them all. And, I know you are absolutely disgusted eating tag soup, just like I am. Probably top 3 least favorite things on the planet to do.
Absolutely. But top 2 favorite things on the planet is the camaraderie and hunting with the boys 100%. And setting that tent up and grilling at night, maybe kicking a bush light or 2 back and just I mean, you're one with it, and like that's the beauty of turkey hunting.
That was cool too. Like we were the only ones camping.
Yeah,
like, everybody else would just kind of filter in throughout the morning and the day, and
that's my favorite way to hunt turkeys. If we're hunting turkeys in a hotel room, it's not my fave.
And boys, if you guys are like us and you try to get the most bang for your buck and you're self-sufficient, what a great way to go hunting. Like you could rack up $1,000 in hotels or Airbnbs with your buddies, or you throw the gear that you already own in your pickup and you kind of rough it. I have my toothpaste and toothbrush, and I would kind of do the underarm wash and went 4 days of humping hills and sweating, and it was an unbelievable time, man. I'll never forget it, and I can't wait to go back. And let me tell you, when I go back, I ain't eating tag soup again. So,
well, maybe in a couple weeks when our next episode drops, I'll have one more turkey kill to talk about. I got a couple that I can from this year that I could maybe talk about next episode, and I think next episode too. I think we're gonna once turkey season comes to a conclusion, we're really gonna hit walleye fishing. We're going to hit food plotting, camera sets, stand sets, conservation. We'll give crop updates, bird updates, how the ducks, geese, which to me, I don't know what you've seen, but I've seen a hell of a goose hatch so far.
It seems like a good hatch. It seems like we got some good moisture. This rain is huge for the ducks. I know too much rain kind of sucks for farming, but
it's perfect rain. I couldn't be happier to the start of the spring, and
it's been cold. It's been cold. We could use some heat.
There's no doubt about that. I actually think there's a frost warning tomorrow night, frost advisory. Luckily, we don't have anything with their heads poking up yet, so not too worried about that. But I'm jacked. It's gonna be a great summer.
Get some trees planted. I know we got some new acreage we get to play with a little bit. I know we can definitely touch on some of that down the road, and
absolutely kind of maybe show how how we're setting up, what works for us out here. It's a lot different than a lot of other states with the lack of trees, and you're more focused on CRP, cattails, stuff like that. But we'll have lots of time to get into that all summer. Maybe we'll share a few deer camp pictures and keep you updated on the chase. But yeah, as far as cameras go, I mean, in deer season, it starts for me. It's starting. It's the prep, and it's time. And I'm
excited. I'm excited to start waking up every morning to trail cam pics. But you know, as we do this, you know, we have tons of buddies that love doing what we do.
Yes.
You know, we all throughout the year we get our buddies to come out here, hunt with us, fish with us. We got, you know, a walleye tournament coming up. I think when we have that local tournament, maybe we'll have our 2 partners on maybe before and kind of give a little preview, and then we can talk about on the next episode, you know, after that we can talk about how it went. But expect some guests. You know, I think, you know, we're shooting for posting 2 times a month. We'll see how it goes. I mean, we're just going to talk hunting and fishing.
Well, yeah, it's hunting, fishing, working class style. We both work for a living. We got jobs, but hunting and fishing and anything outdoors is what we're gonna kind of touch. So
hey, before we end it, I gotta ask you this: did you see that viral clip of the 2 dudes reaping that turkey?
Yeah.
Any thoughts on that?
I have a lot of thoughts on it. I don't think we have enough time. I think my main thought, just a quick one, is I probably would never hunt with that guy ever again.
0% chance I would never talk to him again.
Everybody that I hunt with, every time I'm hunting with you, yeah. We'll touch more on that maybe next episode. And
boys, if you're gonna reap turkeys, do not put your buddy between you and the turkey. There's no turkey worth that. I know you kind of get ramped up when they're over an opportunity at harvesting something, but you gotta have safety first. And I feel like that video was kind of a black eye for.
Yeah, your buddy's head staying in between his shoulders is a pretty high priority. And
yeah,
I think that kid, if that would have been one slightly different movement, he would have made the worst mistake of his life. And there's no bird that's worth that. And it's always safety. And sometimes I know you get in the heat of the moment, but you always gotta. It's never worth something of tragedy to happen to fill a tag. So. But yeah, we can talk about that later. We're going to talk about a whole bunch of stuff. We got a bunch of different guests that we want to introduce you guys to, that are just, hey, they're blue collar, just like we are. Love it. Public land warriors, a little bit of private land, anything. We got a bunch of hunts to talk about. We got a bunch of tournaments to talk about. Bunch of different fisheries to talk about, strategy. Yeah,
anything goes, fellas.
Anything goes, fellas. So I think that was pretty good first episode.
Yeah, we'll take it. I think take one, we'll take it. It can only get better from here.
So, all right, buddy, I got the grill fired up. I'm gonna go throw some venison on.
Enjoy this rain. We'll talk tomorrow.
We'll talk tomorrow. Later, brother. Later, guys.